Welcome, this is John Hyman from Commercial Real Estate Online. This is another training video for my friends in commercial and retail real estate around the world. And this particular topic is all about retail leasing, particularly how you can be a high-profile leasing specialist in the industry. And I have taken this particular article from the website, and this is the article at the website, How to be a high-profile retail leasing specialist. So you can search that at the website and read it through. You can also print the article. So there is the article there with the various points for you to copy and print. So let's go back to the matrix here and talk about the various issues. The process of retail shop leasing is quite specialised for all sorts of reasons. It's also a very unique and yet rewarding part of the property industry for agents to get involved with. That being said, specialisation and knowledge are things that are required. If you want to start leasing shops, do that on the basis of providing comprehensive retail property services, that is across sales, leasing and property management or shopping centre management. See, the idea here is that you need to be quite specialised. Sales, leasing and property management are part of the services that go together in retail shop leasing. So when you look at this a little bit further, one thing opens up into another. One thing leads to another in real estate property services. A lease can lead to property management, and also a lease can lead to the sale of a property over time. So once you get involved with the property, understand the linkages. If you do a leasing, remember that property management is there for you and also sales activity in the future. If you do the right thing, if you stay there and stay on task with the particular property owner. So make sure that one thing opens up into others at the right time in the future. So let's go to point number 3. That is property investors. The property investors that work with retail shopping centres demand top quality retail agents that really understand how to solve shop or retail leasing problems. That is where the landlord and the leasing agent must work together. Respect the investor and their targets when it comes to the property performance over time. And if you are a top quality agent, you will know how to service that property investor comprehensively. So take that again a little bit further. Let's go to point number 4. It is a fact that one tenant can do a lot to support or destroy the performance of the tenancy mix in a shopping centre. That is why every tenant should be carefully considered into the mix, the placement of the tenancy and also how the other tenants will balance around the new tenant to the property. All tenants should be chosen with care and only after reflection on the overall property targets and the servicing of known customer demographics. So don't just put a tenant into a property. Understand their relevance to the customer and also the mix. Look at the future of the property with the new tenant. Will it work? Will it balance correctly into the future? So when you look at these 4 things I have mentioned, the specialist approach, how one thing opens up to another, and property investors, you then go into the other issue of shopping centre performance. So what is shopping centre performance? Before going further here, it's worthwhile understanding and defining what a highly performing shopping centre would be and actually is, and why that should be a target for many property owners, property investors, and also the leasing specialists that work with those properties. A shopping centre will bring higher levels of performance across a number of topics and also strategies. And all of these things shown on the chart here now will apply. So let's look at them individually. A good balance of tenants. That is a good balance of offerings between the specialist tenants and the anchor tenants. Make sure that everything is balanced and working well. Of course, remove the poor quality specialist tenants from the mix over time and replace them with better tenants. That's the focus. Let's go to number 2. A tenant mix that is matched to the requirements of the customer demographic. I go to the earlier point that your tenants must be chosen with due regard to the customer demographic, the location, the balance of the other tenants around it. Number 3. Stable and growing market rentals that are supported by solid sales evidence and MAT. MAT is moving annual turnover, so a highly performing shopping centre will have stable and growing market rentals. And those rentals will be supported by the property performance. The property performance will be supported by sales evidence and tenant activity. Let's go to the next point. Number 4. There will be a plan for ongoing renovations and expansion in the shopping centre to allow for the tenant mix to expand at the right time. A shopping centre must look good at all times. That's why renovations and expansions are part of shopping centre management and activity. So let's look at point number 5. That being budgets. There should be targets when it comes to income and expenditure activity in a shopping centre, and those averages that apply to income and expenditure should be matched to industry expectations and averages, so that everyone knows that the property in itself is exceeding or at least matching the averages for the industry, for its property type and its location. So a good performing shopping centre will have a budget that works in both income and expenditure. The vacancies will be minimised, the expenditure will be under control. Let's look at point number 6. Community space. Now, a shopping centre should be a large property with a mall configuration perhaps, and also the interaction of customers will be through the mall with the specialist tenants and the anchor tenants. So there must be community space within a successful shopping centre. The community space should be respected and used by community interaction and support. Now, the shopping centre leasing manager and also the shopping centre manager should encourage community involvement in the community space. Let's go a bit further. So let's go to point number 7. That is tenancy mix alignment. So the tenancy mix must be aligned to the customers and also the surrounding tenants. The tenancy mix must be well considered and shaped over time. It's not easy, but that's where a business plan for the shopping centre comes into play. So let's go to point number 8. Tenant involvement. Now, the tenants should be involved in the community. That should be encouraged so that customers come to the tenants for various services or products, and also the community aligns to the tenants that are successful in servicing the community very well. So encourage tenant involvement with the community. Let's look at point number 9. This is perhaps a tough one or a difficult one, and it talks about the respect of the landlord within the property and also the landlord's respect for tenants and customer relationships. You could say that it's a three-pointed triangle. The tenants, the customers, and the landlord are all part of a very important relationship that needs to be nurtured over time for ongoing property performance. The landlord should be encouraged to respect the customers, respect the tenants, and everybody should be aligned to the performance of the property over time. So let's look at point number 10. A partnership. There should be a strong partnership of the landlord and the tenants towards supporting and servicing the local customers. Now, that can be integrated into the business plan for the property. Make sure that the business plan talks about how partnerships will be strengthened. That is, between the landlord and the tenants. Make sure the customers are in that equation. Strengthen the relationships, the partnership. Let's look at point number 11. A well-maintained property. I did say earlier that a shopping centre is something that should look good at all times, and that's important. So maintenance needs to form part of the shopping centre management plan and the leasing plan over time. A well-maintained retail property encourages sales, customer visits, and community interaction. So there should be a maintenance plan and perhaps a refurbishment plan in the shopping centre performance strategy for the next 5 years. Let's go to point number 12. Property access. Every shopping centre should be easy to access and thereby encourage customer interaction. The car park should be well serviced and positioned. Everything should be easy for the customer to get to the property and do their shopping. A property that is easy to access and encourages ongoing retail spend of customers locally is quite important. So property access needs to be thought about. That is the signage, the car parking, the doorways, everything that makes it easy for people to get into the property, walk around and do what they need to do. So let's go to the last point here. Point number 13. Services and amenities that are well maintained to the expectations of tenants and customers alike. It might be one thing to maintain the common areas, the walkways, the malls, perhaps to make them look good, but the services and amenities, particularly the public toilets, etc., if they're not well maintained, it degrades the rest of the property and the appearance of the property. Customers soon know that the property is quite old if the services and amenities have not been maintained to a plan over time. So I've mentioned a number of things here, and they're all within the shopping centre performance side of things. Number one is a good balance of tenants. Number two is a tenancy mix that is matched to the customers. Number three is a stable and growing rental base, and that will be from sales. There'll be plans for renovations and also expansions as appropriate. There'll be budgets. The community space will be well maintained and serviced. The tenant mix will be aligned to the customers. There'll be tenant involvement with the customers, and also a respect will be established between the landlord, the customers and the tenants. There'll be a partnership there to be worked on. And the property should be well maintained into the future so it looks good. Property access should be maintained. And lastly, services and amenities should be optimised for the future of tenant use and customer use. So all of these things fall into shopping centre performance, and of course a high-profile retail leasing specialist will be part of that equation. They service the shopping centre comprehensively into the future. So remember these things, understand the chart for what it is, understand the important points in the shopping centre performance matrix that I've just mentioned. Of course, you can print the article here, which I did give you earlier, and that particular article is how to be a high-profile retail leasing specialist. There it is there. The article is quite comprehensive and you can print off as required. So my name is John Hyman, and thank you for listening to this particular video today. You can get many other tips, tools and ideas at the website relating to retail property, also office property and industrial assets. And if you're in sales, leasing or property management, again, you can get the information you need to stay on task and on track to improve your career. This is John Hyman signing off for now. I'll catch you again very soon online.